Sam Seder, Emma Vigeland on the Majority Report. I'd like to welcome back to the program Francesca Fiorentini, the host of the Bituation Room.
Yes.
Still one of my favorite podcast names out there, gotta say.
Now, what is
Thank you.
Is Bituation Room?
Well, it's like the Situation Room, but we do. Okay. It's like the same amount of coke, but a little bit less murder. So there's like less assassination, same amount of drugs. It's my podcast, guys. You know it, Sam. You've been on it live.
I know. In the flesh. I just thought like I was just sort of pretending like that's the kind of question you get asked.
So what is a Bituation Room?
Why Bituation Room?
And are there canines in this room? Yes. Yeah. We're going to go real NPR. I like that. And how did you come up with that name? I don't know. It sounded stupid and fun.
Where do you get your funny ideas from?
Yeah. I've been called Wolf Klitzer. There. I said it.
Were you a class clown?
What was that?
Were you a class clown?
Not to brag, but superlatives in both middle school class clown, also high school class clown.
Whoa.
And those people always turn out to be like mega super famous stars. So I can't even believe I had time for this.
I was also class clown in my high school. If we're bragging. Emma?
Emma, what were you?
I went to like a really touchy-feely all-girls school where
everybody's got excuses,
scholar
right?
leaders. No. We weren't allowed to do superlatives because it might make people feel bad. So we didn't know what we were good at, and that's why I am the way I am.
Did you get grades, or did you get like just different types of bark?
No, we close. We did get grades, but we did trimesters, and it was all like comments, and it was always more focused on the teacher's assessment, and most of it was about Emma doesn't do her homework enough or show up enough and is fooling around all the time. So that's what I could have been class clown. I could have been like you guys.
And look how you turned out, just like speaking your mind and stuff, and anchoring news shows. Jesus.
Well, that's a little bit generous.
Well, let's get down to brass tacks for a moment. My understanding is that you two have an announcement to make.
Hell yeah, we do. The Bituation Room podcast will be live in San Francisco on Sunday, January 28th, and Emma Vigeland of the Majority Report will be there.
Yes.
So get excited.
Whoa. San Francisco Sketchfest is legendary.
Yeah, still going strong. What year is this? I don't know. What are we?
It's been going
21st. Okay. Not that crazy.
I'd say decades.
Yeah.
But we sold out last year. We've got a bigger venue. It's at the Gateway Theater. Also joining us is Miles Gray of the Daily Zeitgeist. If there's any Zeitgang fans out there, Frantifa fans, obviously. Left is besties. What do you guys call yourselves? Did I just? Yes, it's an ist. I got it.
Left is besters.
Besters. Yeah. I like besties, but okay. Anyway.
Majority reporters.
Yeah,
I like
majority
that.
reporters in the end, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Occasionally Cederistas you'll get.
I prefer that. I
hate that.
Viglanders.
I think I might hate
the
that
Viglanders
more.
and Cederistas. Please come out though, everyone. It'll be so fun. That's on Sunday, the 28th of January,
Yes.
7 p.m. I know it's like a work school night, but whatever. We'll end early. It'll be chill. And also comedian Nato Green is there. And then I'm doing stand up with Nato the day before, so Saturday. So if you want to make it a whole weekend lineup, come to that as well.
Now, let me ask you this. You are a fairly recent parent. What do you do with a child in that situation? Do you bring the child to the show?
Yeah. Well, we have cages, so it's sort of like a coat check, but for kids.
Right.
No. Dad's staying behind with the baby, which is good because she's much better behaved with him than with me, I think.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's the way kids are. They like, what is it? There's some like they behave 800 times worse with the mom than the dad.
My kids didn't even recognize my existence for like the first, 3 to 5 years.
You're just a big teddy bear. You're just whatever.
I just was
indifference?
more like a total indifference.
Who's that ghost man?
Yeah.
So it'll be chill. Mama needs to get out of the house, so stay behind and we'll hang, we'll drink. It's a lot. It's been a rough few months, guys. Can't think of why, but a rough time to be a new mom too, because my algorithms on Instagram are horrendous. It is a lot of cute babies doing cute things, and then because I'm for Palestinian human rights, a lot of babies not alive anymore. So that's just the dissonance is pretty upsetting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People I know who are on Instagram a lot. That has been, for some reason, Instagram seems, I guess maybe if you're on Twitter, you're already sort of like, you're already prepared for the horror that you see on Twitter, both in terms of like, for a long time, the anti-Semitism on Twitter was just sort of, one of the new features that Elon Musk introduced, along with like the changing the blue checks. It was also as much anti-Semitism as you can take. There's actually a
auto
filter.
reply.
There's a filter you can actually in your settings on Twitter where you can say a tremendous amount of anti-Semitism or an extreme tremendous amount of anti-Semitism. But now, of course, where you see the videos of just the most incredibly tragic stuff happening in barbaric. It seems to me in Gaza, but Instagram, it seems like, is a place where there's a lot more sort of I don't know, like.
Well, it's like it's the algorithm. It feels like is a bit more sophisticated in its like filtering of what you want to see or what you're like. If you're a Zionist, you're getting a lot of the same kind of content, and same thing on the Palestinian side.
A lot of funny memes.
Yeah,
real funny.
And it's
ethnic
also
cleansing memes. You wouldn't get it.
It's less populated by people who are actually like journalists or in media. So a lot more propaganda on Instagram, and it's mostly Zionist propaganda. And like, I also think that the Instagram element versus Twitter is like, it's people in your personal life that you normally thought or might have, known in passing. You're like, they're a nice,
who are less political.
Yeah, like you're a nice liberal. You like Black Lives Matter, and then it's like all Arabs are racist or rapists, basically, and you're just totally thrown for a loop. And then they're posting a lot of those things in sequence.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of people who are like, I'm finally going to break my silence about what's going on, and I just want to say that bad things are bad, and I've grown the courage to say it. Bad things are bad, and bad things happen in the world right now, and love is good, and I just think we should all love. Thank you. Yeah. Like, that's the other thing that happens. You're like, oh wow, that's so brave. I see you trying to keep your job or become employable.
It's the dumbest shit ever too. And it's like, remember when Justin Bieber posted that praying for Israel thing, and it was in the photo was actually an image of destroyed Gaza, and then he deleted it.
Well, Bieber was also the one who said that if Anne Frank were alive, he thinks she'd be a believer. Be a believer.
Yeah, right.
He's consistent. He's good on this. He's good on these issues.
What he said that if Anne Frank was alive, that he would be a fan of hers.
Should be a fan.
That
she'd be a belieber.
That's what he wrote in the Anne Frank guest book.
I think Anne Frank would be a Cedarista and a vigilante.
She would be a believer. That's a problem. She was like a preteen.
She might have been. Yeah. The only Oasis, I will say, Fran, on Instagram.
You also would have been an Oasis fan.
Maybe.
All right. No.
Are Matt's your partner's satirical posts
his videos
of being a fake liberal Zionist? I can't encourage people to check those out more just because it's like channeling all of the rage I feel about the discourse into something that actually makes me laugh.
Yeah. Matt Lieb jokes. He is Jewish, although he never opens his videos with that because pretty apparent. but he talks about it. It's just
this one.
Can we watch one? Would
This
you
latest
mind
one
watching
was-
your husband?
this
Francesca?
Watch the latest one. I knew we were going to do this. Why did I know we were going to do this? Going to come on here. I'm going to talk about
Gotta
the baby
upstage
daddy.
you.
Going to upstage me. No, let's watch. The latest one's pretty good. I think people know people who literally are saying these kinds of things. That,
This is why I need this, because I know too many people. Yeah, exactly.
So I'm a liberal Zionist, and I have to say that I actually do agree with a lot of what the pro-Palestinian left has to say about Israel. The occupation is awful and it needs to end. The settlers are crazy. We have to do something about that. Netanyahu is a criminal. He's going to lead Israel to ruin. The 17-year siege of Gaza has been brutal, and it is completely unconscionable. I agree that Israel is essentially, in parts of it, an apartheid state. But like the one thing is, after the 7th, the thing is that I don't care anymore. I'm bad now. Because, here's the thing. After the 7th, I just kind of realized if it's us or them, then it's got to be us. No more them. I never thought I could be a fascist, but I think I'm a fascist now. And it's kind of great because I have all these new friends. Me and Amy Schumer and the ugly guy from Stranger Things. And I'm getting all these new job opportunities. And I'm like, okay, if this is what... I didn't know that fascism came with stuff. If I had known that, I'd have been a fascist a long time ago. It's kind of nice, too, because now I get to be like, ooh, I'm bad. So I'm just going to be bad now. I can still believe all that other stuff, too, but just not now. I'm going to wait till later. But for now, I'm going to be bad. Okay. Bye-bye.
This is so amazing.
And I think we all know people who are like that. You're like, hey, rational. But no, and there's no consequences for now being bad. And we'll just wait till it's over. We'll wait till everyone from Gaza is dead and they're all in the desert or wherever they're supposed to go. And then we'll just be like, God, that was sad. That was too bad.
Yeah, right. And then we'll call it maybe like a genocide later. Not when we could have prevented it. And then let's quibble with the notions of it. Even as genocide scholars warn that these are crimes of genocide. Genocide's only a thing that happened before, it's something we can look back on and read in history as opposed to an ongoing one where we could have prevented it. Then, after the killing is over, we'll call it a genocide. But when we could have stopped it, that's when that word was it's just too inflammatory.
Yeah. I mean, this is sort of a grim comparison, but I've been thinking about, the BLM movement and how many people would have in the moment been incensed of George Floyd being slowly killed. If they were there, if they saw something going down, the fact that we are witnessing this slow death of all of the Palestinians in Gaza. And then, liberals are waiting for it to be done, and then they can come out and say something about it. But it's taking a really long time. And, today Biden isn't here in Los Angeles raising money among, the Hollywood elites and all the libs here. So it's an interesting moment in Hollywood, I think, particularly around Israel-Palestine, because especially off the back of the SAG strike and the WGA strike, you're now seeing this new rift and real cancel culture levied at, entertainers and agents and writers and anyone who would speak out on this, whether tacit or overtly, from the river to the sea, no one will hire me. That's what we're saying around my house.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, it's been, we haven't, we sort of stayed out of I'm trying to think of was the Margulies? I can't say.
Oh my God.
No, you got it right. You got it right.
Margulies.
You got it right this time.
Did she say, was she the one who said, I changed my Instagram profile or something like that? Or was that somebody else who was talking about, that they had actually changed their Instagram profile for BLM, and that commitment is not being matched.
That was Amy Schumer
crazy.
To a degree, right? A lot of Schumer was the one that posted the first they came for the blacks and stuff. There's a lot of people telling on themselves about how transactional their solidarity with marginalized groups are.
Yeah, Juliana Margulies said Black lesbians, you're below Jews. And that's what she said, and then has since apologized, of course, but ultimately named that hierarchy and was like, therefore, shut up, get on board with ethnic cleansing and genocide.
What does that mean? You're below? I'm not even sure I follow that statement.
She's saying, how dare you as a Black lesbian speak out for Palestinian human rights because in the hierarchy,
if you were in Gaza, you would be worse off than Jews? What?
I don't think it's that. I think it's in the hierarchy of racial and racial power and in our society, you're lower on the totem pole. So get in line because you should be thankful that you have anything. I mean, that's effectively what she was saying. Like, don't I mean?
I don't even want to talk about this anymore because if we have to, I desperately don't want to play this.
That's fine.
I desperately don't want to play this clip. Oh God, no.
You don't want to get even more enraged?
Bradley keeps talking. Well, the thing is, she was she was on The Good Wife, right?
No, no. This is why it's crazy.
She's not good though, Sam.
Well, no, I mean, I didn't take that. I didn't take that.
But Sam, what's crazy is
you enjoy my socialism. She did say she put the black square on her Instagram.
Oh, that was her then. Okay, but what's so crazy, Sam?
These are parodies. That's what I'm saying. Matt's videos, every time he does a parody, someone actually in real life says that exact same thing. Does exactly that.
Well, what's insane about the clip is that she says she plays a lesbian on the show. What, the Apple show, right? With Jennifer Aniston.
Apple show. Wow.
Yeah, the morning show. The morning show.
Yeah.
And she then slips into as a lesbian and says that in the clip, like
as a lesbian on TV.
But at one point she just says as a lesbian.
As a lesbian journalist.
And she's not a lesbian. Yeah, as a lesbian journalist.
She's been married for 16 years.
That's just the role she plays on television. It's really nuts. Really nuts.
Anyway, these are levels of delusion, and for some reason, the more money you have, the more untouchable you are, the more convinced you are that Hamas is Bugs Bunnying a tunnel into your villa, straight up. Like there's a correlation here.
All right. Well, let's talk about another lunacy, but this is on. Well, it's not completely unrelated. Speaker Johnson, I don't know how much longer we'll have him around, although I suspect longer than you were starting to hear some squawks from the conservatives. I don't think that's going to be as big of a deal for him as one might think. But just as a reminder, and then we'll talk about what's going on in Texas in terms of this abortion situation with Ken Paxton and this woman. But here is Mike Johnson at an event for the National Association of Christian Lawmakers. This guy is probably maybe, I guess, after Mike Pence, the second most powerful theocrat we've ever had elected to office. And listen to Speaker Johnson talk about how what was involved in the race to become speaker.
The Lord told me very clearly to prepare and be ready. Be ready for what? Okay, I don't know. We're coming to a Red Sea moment. What does that mean, Lord? And then when the speaker.
Oh wait, can we start this? You started again with the volume up. He said the Lord came to him and told him to be prepared for a Red Sea moment.
The Lord told me very clearly to prepare and be ready. Be ready for what? Okay, I don't know. We're coming to a Red Sea moment. What does that mean, Lord? And then when the speaker's race happened and Kevin McCarthy, who's a dear friend of mine, was deposed, vacated from the chair. Oh, wow. Well, this is what the Lord may have been preparing us for. And so I started praying more about that. And then the Lord began to wake me up through this 3-week process we're in the middle of the night and to speak to me and to write things down, plans and procedures and ideas on how we could pull the conference together. Now, at the time, I assumed the Lord is going to choose a new Moses. And, thank you, the Lord, you're going to allow me to be Aaron to Moses. And so I worked to get Steve Scalise elected speaker. That didn't happen. And then Jim Jordan, who's like another big brother of mine. No, that didn't happen. And then Tom Emmer. And, ultimately 13 people ran for the post. And the Lord kept telling me to wait. So I waited. And then at the end, when it came to the end, the Lord said, now, step forward. Me? I'm supposed to be Aaron. No, the Lord said, step forward.
Yeah. So King Theocrat there, right? Like, I mean, we saw this in the context of Mike Pence as well, who saw like
Matt, put us up. Thanks.
His godly duty as to serve under Donald Trump, right? Like he was divinely called, and so it is now because God put him in this position. He has to serve God in this position, and not the people, but God.
I mean, it's one thing, and someone, Cole from Michigan's asking me, how is a VP more powerful than a speaker? I would just the line of succession, I guess, but arguably the Speaker of the House is more powerful. I mean, it sort of depends on the context, I guess. If they own the Senate, if they control the Senate, he certainly is arguably more powerful. But what I find super disturbing about this clip is not just the idea of like, God came to me and said, you should do this, right? Because people do that. I don't have a personal conversation with God. But some people do. That's one thing. But let's be clear who Moses was. He's not saying God came to me and said, do this and wait and have patience. No, he perceives this role to be one of Moses. In other words, go up against the tyrant, the dictator, and deliver your people to the promised land. That's what it means to be Moses. And so this is not just a guy who says, like, I have a personal relationship with God. I mean, if people have personal relationships with God, as long as it's personal, it doesn't involve me. But this is a guy who is a megalomaniac. Okay. That this type of like Christian theocracy places this guy as he sees himself. I don't know what that was. He sees himself as some type of like some type of savior. It's terrifying.
He's Aaron, though. He was just supposed to be Aaron. I just want to be Aaron. Okay. Now that I've, crushed everyone else, the understudy is like here. I also think that Christians do this thing, and I'm sorry, but they kind of like reverse engineer when God talks to them. It's like he actually wanted to be speaker from jump. Right. But then he's like, and then God said, wait. And so I did. And it's like, no, you were probably throwing a fit. And so you're telling it like as if, you were very, very patient.
Right. Yeah. The whole part where he's like, me? Oh, right. Okay. It's not my idea to be speaker. I was just told to do it by God. I have no aspirations or ambitions in that way.
Exactly. It's like watering down their own ambition to pretend like they are more pure than the other kind of grabby politicians, because God is the one thrusting them forward. They're merely a pebble in a stream.
I'm just doing what I'm told. I'm not, this is not my idea. Really can't believe how, this guy also, though, I will say this, he has had a tremendous amount of luck that that October 7th happened and the Israeli reaction happened, because he has escaped a tremendous amount of scrutiny because of how the news has been sucked up. I mean, this guy supposedly has no bank accounts or only savings accounts that don't provide any interest whatsoever. He made a decent amount of money. Yeah, are you aware of this? He has no bank accounts listed on his he has no assets listed on his financial disclosures. It's very strange.
But he has a mortgage.
It's a little bit dubious, but
doesn't he also give you? I guess his name is Hermie, but the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer elf. You remember that guy?
Yes.
Yeah, Hermie. Yeah. Yes, he's got the dentist vibes, the ears, the rosiness. Anyway, Maybe I'm getting a little too holiday with it.
No. That is like you know who looks like Herman. No, not Hermie, the dentist. Oh yeah, no, this guy. Yes, he's the one who wants to be the dentist. But also from these claymation movies, the guy Herman Meisterberger or whatever.
Herbie.
He looks like Bill Barr. No one's.
What?
Meisterberger, the villain from.
Oh, Meisterberger. Okay, yeah.
I thought Bill Barr was like universally Barney Rubble. Like I thought we decided that a long time ago.
All right,
well.
Well, anyway,
a little off topic.
I mean.
All right, let's talk about what's going on in Texas, because this is no coincidence. We have a theocrat now as the Speaker of the House, and this is, I think, these type of stories, to the extent that there's going to be any type of turnout for the 2024 election. This is going to be one of the biggest reasons. Right now, a state court judge granted a request yesterday to allow for an abortion by a woman. She is pregnant. Fetus has been diagnosed with a fatal condition. The woman, Kate Cox, is 20 weeks pregnant. Maya Guerrero Gamble, Travis County District Court, sided with the woman to allow her to basically enjoin the law from giving her civil or criminal penalties. Then, there's this whole thing of like, she wants desperately to be pregnant, as if like that's the way that you justify it. You passed the test because you want to be pregnant. The point being that to carry this child to term or to when it could survive could also inhibit her ability to have a child in the future. Her fetus has trisomy 18, which is a genetic condition, and it leads to miscarriage or stillbirth or the infant's death within the first year. She's been to the emergency room 4 times because of pain and discharge, including once after her suit was filed on Tuesday. Doctors have repeatedly told her that under Texas law, she had to continue her pregnancy. And then the Texas Attorney General's office argued on Thursday against the order. And after the ruling, Ken Paxton sends this letter. Do you have a copy of it? Yeah. Pop this up. See where mine is here. This is pretty stunning. To whom it may concern, it's come to our attention that Damala Carson, MD, a physician holding privileges at your hospital, intends to perform a dilation and evacuation abortion on Kate Cox. Today, an activist Travis County judge signed a temporary restraining order purporting to enjoin the Attorney General's office and the medical board from enforcing some of the state's abortion laws against Dr. Carson if she performs an abortion on Ms. Cox. We feel it's important for you to understand the potential long-term implications if you permit such an abortion to occur at your facility. Scroll up for me. First, the TRO, that being the temporary restraining order, will not insulate you or anyone else from civil and criminal liability for violating Texas's abortion laws, including first-degree felony prosecutions. Next page. Second, it's the hospitals.
Sorry, Sam, I'm going to scroll up a little bit. Go back, Bradley, just because there's a paragraph I got to change the scroll. Go back to where you were. There you go.
Civil penalties for each. Okay. The TRO purports to temporarily enjoin actions brought by the Attorney General's office and the medical board against Dr. Carson and her staff, but it does not enjoin actions brought by private citizens. So they're talking about that vigilante law where you can sue them. nor does it prohibit a district attorney or county attorney from enforcing Texas's abortion laws against you, Dr. Carson, or anyone else. And we remind you that the temporary restraining order will expire long before the statute of limitations. Okay, and then there's two other things, but the point is, this is an active threat to the doctors and the hospital saying, do not perform this abortion, despite the fact that a court has ruled that she can get one. I mean, they're forcing this woman to carry a fetus that is very likely to die before viability and would seriously impair her health. And this is where they're going. I mean, this is where they are. Doctor convicted of performing an illegal abortion in Texas can face prison and a sentence up to 99 years and fines of at least 100. So he's saying two things, right? Even in that just first paragraph. You'll be subject to lawsuits from private individuals. And I don't even know if there's a limitation on how many of those lawsuits can be filed.
Right.
And secondly, you perform this abortion, the restraining order is going to run out at one point, and we'll get you under the statute of limitations. We'll come and potentially convict you and the hospital and your staff and whatnot. It's, this is
bastards.
People say Handmaid's Tale, but this
that's
is
generous.
Where we're at. Exactly.
Because if you actually cared about childbearing women being able to have healthy new, kids to raise in our theocratic state like that, then you would actually protect this woman. You'd protect her ability to have kids in the future. You would want her to have a viable child, to fulfill whatever, Amazon Prime theocratic Christian future we have waiting for us. But this is pure cruelty. This is control, cruelty, wanting women to bleed out in their cars, wanting them to watch their children suffer, breathe their last breaths in the hospital in their arms or within a year or whatever it is, be strapped with hospital bills and doctor's bills. I did reporting in El Salvador about this. This was like 2016. Trump just got elected, or was about to be elected, I guess. And I was visiting women who had been in prison for 30 years for having miscarriages that were then deemed abortions. They would wake up in a hospital and sometimes they didn't know they were pregnant and be handcuffed to their beds. That's where we are. That's how close we are to that. And we're already seeing prison sentences come down for women. In a recent case, right, a woman who had miscarried in a bathroom, tried to flush the toilet, didn't even know that she was pregnant. Anyway, right.
Yeah.
And she's being prosecuted for desecrating the corpse.
Which, a bloody mass that came out of her and the fetus was non-viable. And I guess she was supposed to inspect the corpse and then call the to see, the remains of the fetus, and then call the cops just to make it clear she wasn't desecrating the corpse instead of flushing it down the toilet as she went through a very difficult medical episode. To your point though, Francesca, this really is about punishing women, and it goes so much deeper than I would say, maybe Republicans would say, well, we have to apply a uniform standard because it's a slippery slope before they start killing babies. But I think it's more even pathological. It's about punishing women who they determine are not perfect earthen vessels for the child. These are deep, scary religious fundamentalist inclinations about what the value of a woman's femininity is. And it's the value of, you go back to Henry VIII about, can you produce an heir for me that is healthy and that is going to continue the line of me, the man. And women that have difficulties in that area, they don't see them as full women. And so, if they have medical episodes that hurt their fertility in the long run, that's fine, because that's God's natural law punishing her for not being a real woman in their eyes.
Or the young woman who was denied medicine because she's of childbearing age. I think that was actually in New York. And she spoke about that she was told that because she could get pregnant, didn't want kids, used protection always, had no intention of getting pregnant. She was denied her medicine in that moment. And it's just why that's in a blue state. So you're right. I mean, it's interesting also a lot of, like abortion rights activists talk about like the fertility clinics, like how far are we from, so-called pro-lifers protesting the like embryos, you know what I mean? And other like they're not, but they might be.
Well, this is the point, is that this is why like cases like this are so important to them, because they must establish that a fetus under every circumstance is a person, is a citizen. And that's why you've got like the bloody mass needs to be treated as if it was a corpse of a person who had been born and died. That's why they are saying you cannot, regardless of the fact that this fetus is not viable and could cause you damage, we must treat it as if it's a person walking around right now and apply our laws to them. Because once they establish that, then they start going for the embryos. And we already see it coming from the other end. When Matt Walsh said stuff that like, that you need two parents, and that getting pregnant via a surrogate, via IVF is unnatural and not right. Well, what makes it more natural or right for a woman who can't conceive, or a man who doesn't have sperm that works? I mean, they're coming for the entire process. They're going to own all of it, and they're going to dictate what is done, and they will just get beachhead after beachhead after beachhead, and they are not going to stop this assault. I mean, it's quite clear. They have a vision for how this stuff goes down, and we're all going to have to fall in line with their fundamentalism. Period. End of story. Well, that was encouraging and fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Unbelievable. Should we try and do a fun clip? Let's see. Let's have, what do we got that's a fun clip? What do we have here?
Anna Margulies.
Sam, I can't. Did we bring back that? I mean, we've done so much Tim Pool lately, but I think this was the one that I wanted to get to.
Okay, let's get this one.
13.
Emma's been waiting on this one for all week.
Yeah.
I just love, like...
She was offered a tour, sushi, and poker with the boys.
Yes. And it's just amazing to me. So, like, we said this yesterday. He's caught in a really weird spot in his career, which is that he really like has worn out in like Dave Rubin before him, or other liberals that had that, or people who he used to do Occupy reporting, and now he's a centrist guy, but he says everything he says is completely right wing, and that is becoming more and more clear to people that he's truly a right wing commentator. And so, like, what is the next step in his career when he can no longer pretend to be a liberal like Jimmy Dore, who's saying just right wing things? And he's now going down this kind of manosphere path of about dating advice and like the differences between men and women.
Who better to get dating advice?
And that's the thing, is like, when Jordan Peterson did that stuff, he had the faux intellectualism and the degree.
And a child.
Yeah.
Like, so proof that he fucked.
Yeah.
Right, that one time.
Just to put it crudely.
Yes.
That one time.
And then the Andrew Tate guys, they're taking HGH, or maybe not him,
right,
but like they're working out and they're trying to perform a certain kind of traditional masculinity. But Tim can't really pull that off. So he's not either. He doesn't have the faux intellectualism or the aspirational nature for these lost
What's
young
the
men.
archetype here is, I think, the question. Like,
let's say he's trying to win him over with his personality. If anything, here's what I'll say.
That's another problem.
Which is true. But I at least give him credit over someone, like Andrew Tate, who is so fragile he has to, like insulate all his feelings with, the HGH and his massive pecs or whatnot. That's what I'll say about Tim Pool. Like,
Okay.
go off, King.
He's willing to try a strategy that isn't proven to work.
And to be fair, though, I mean, Tim's still young, so there's still time.
There's
still what, 40?
Let's set up this clip.
So basically, this is a continuation of this. He's going back to prehistoric times to talk about, how men are from Mars and women are from Venus. And he's using his favorite source. It's incredible. Every article, not every, but he's always citing the Daily Mail, the British tabloid.
He has alerts set.
He loves the frickin' Daily Mail.
His subscription to the National Enquirer ran out.
Exactly.
I think like 3 of the last 4 Tim clips we've played, he has just been reacting word for word from a Daily Mail piece.
So you're getting the news here.
Running, but my understanding, because I watched that when I watched a video about this Native American tribe where they run like hundreds of miles, like just full sprint and stuff like that. But let's read this.
What?
They say, if you envisage
Pause it for a second.
prehistoric
Just
hunter-
a fact check on this. Are there Native American tribes that can run hundreds of miles?
It's intellectual stuff you guys wouldn't understand.
Yeah,
it's
I've seen Pocahontas. All right, there was that song.
Yeah, and
bro, did you hear about these natives that can sprint 100 miles?
they're
full
running with
speed?
the colors of the wind.
Yeah, they just like focus on a horizon and they go.
No, they're doing they're doing the Forrest Gump thing at the end of the movie. That's like their entire culture.
Why didn't they just run from the genociders? Yeah, that's crazy. All right.
Let's read this. They say, if you envisage a prehistoric hunter, the vision of a caveman might spring to mind. But a new study claims that these cavemen paled in comparison to their female counterparts. Oh, wow. While women have long been seen as child rearers and gatherers and men as hunters, researchers from the University of Notre Dame have debunked this theory. No, they didn't. They've made a claim.
Notre Dame.
The study found that not only did prehistoric women engage in the practice of hunting, they probably did, but their female anatomy and biology would have made them intrinsically better suited for it. I completely disagree with that. That is a political statement. I do believe it's fair to say that women...
Oh my God, wait a second.
Okay.
Does he provide evidence for that disagreement? There are other animals in the animal kingdom where the women are the hunters. Lions are like the one that comes right.
I'm pretty sure that's true.
Mind.
I mean, that's my understanding based on Lion King, but yeah.
No, I
That
mean,
is just exactly like, what is based upon what does he disagree with what experts say about prehistoric? Like what?
I think I would be a better hunter in the wild than Tim.
Than Tim
I'm
Pool.
bigger than him. I think
He
physically,
once-
I might be
went to the
taller,
Natural
but I
Museum
might
of
weigh
History. He once went to the Natural Museum of History and he made an assessment based upon a clay figure or something.
Yeah.
Diorama.
All right, go back a little bit. Okay, go ahead.
I completely disagree with that. Their female anatomy and biology would have made them intrinsically better suited for it. I completely disagree with that. That is a political statement. I do believe it's fair to say that women hunted. Sure, women hunt today. And it's probably 80-20. Go to any hobby event. Bro, I'm sorry, man. Go to the skate park. 90% males. Good luck if there's a single female there. Go to a comic shop, a card shop. Go to the poker tables. It's the same.
Shop?
Yes, there are some women there. It's overwhelmingly
Okay, pause
dudes
it.
doing all.
Like when I think of modern hobbies that are most applicable to hunting and gathering, I think of skate parks.
Hunter, it's
Skating.
those hunter-gatherer comic book buying.
Yeah, the Hunter Magic the Gathering. Like, bro, it's
And then the playing poker. I mean, like, if you can think of anything analogous to the physicality needed to hunt a bear, I think about sitting down at a table and passing out cards.
Like
Skating,
poker
looking for
with the
comics,
boys.
playing cards.
Yeah.
eating sushi. Okay. Show me a prehistoric woman that can do that. I just love that he's reading, like, that at this point he's run out of content, so he's just reading things and getting triggered by them.
Yeah.
Is brilliant. Like,
He's a single man.
No?
He's a single man that, as far as I know, that's upset that more women aren't coming to his skate park. I don't know if but I don't know. This just seems like a guy that's upset that his
He's been
skate
talking
park.
about his girlfriend recently.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
So he's literally defending cavemen. He's going back in time to defend prehistoric masculinity from like, yeah,
Someone
feminine
Well, his
feminism.
proof is that there are more men than women at the poker table. Therefore, in prehistoric times, women were definitely not more suited for hunting than men. Obviously.
Duh.
Hello. Have you seen who's at the skate park when he goes there? I think we can extrapolate for that matter. On what the prehistoric people did. It's quite obvious. This is what's amazing. The guy doesn't. It's just amazing. I disagree. It's a political statement to try and assess what prehistoric people did. It's also a political statement that they hunted. How do we know that they hunted?
Yeah. Maybe it was just
because
like
we found a couple of arrows.
Maybe just some feminist cave women
pictures.
who were like trying to fool the historical record.
This is a false flag.
But he doesn't even
You know how
just
deceptive women are.
Yeah. Well, the prehistoric women were famous for getting their info in the time capsules that they buried.
Right.
So, go back a little bit and let's.
Email there. Go to a comic shop, a card shop. Go to the poker tables. It's the same. Yes, there are some women there. It's overwhelmingly dudes doing all of these things. I don't know what it is that women are doing. I don't hang out in spaces where there tend to be large groups of women. Perhaps they're shopping or something.
Can we make sure that
I have not
drop?
heard of them.
You don't have to cut back to me. I just want to make sure that I don't know what women are doing. It needs to be a drop.
I
Go
don't
ahead.
know where they are.
The argument is that shopping is akin to gathering, and the reason why men want to score objectives is that it's akin to hunting. I believe it makes infinitely more sense that as women were gathering and men were hunting, this is why you have the trope of women shopping, because they're effectively going out and finding things to bring back to the family that the family needs. I think it's admirable. I don't see anything negative about it. And I think it's silly that people are offended at the notion that women like to shop. This is a funny thing to me. Guys go work. They slay the boar. They bring the meat back.
That's what Tim's doing
They
right
give
now.
the family food. Women go
Lock
out
the
and
door and
collect
slay the boar.
things
Yeah, that's
that
exactly
are
right.
useful to
That's
the
what he
family.
does.
So if you look at this in like a 1950 sense of the wife shopping and the man working,
1950s.
Is the man going to go shopping for things the family needs when he's at work? No, the guy's at work handling the new account for, the TPS reports or whatever.
Slaying the boar.
The TPS
Makes money.
Slaying the
And
boar.
the wife says, I'm
TPS reports, I believe that's from Office Space, right? Is that the thing? Is that the or no, is that from there's
There's a movie that has TPS reports.
I want him to
don't
keep
know.
going and like deconstruct capitalism, like wage
Yeah, Office
labor
Space.
and all this, and be like, why
He's
did
aware
men?
that. I mean, do you think he's aware that during the 50s, that women weren't really allowed in the workforce? Like you could be a secretary. Like maybe he wasn't.
they were so happy though, Sam. They loved it back then.
The reason
they
why
were
they
good at
weren't
gathering.
allowed. They were good at gathering,
Yeah.
and there was just no gathering jobs at the time.
honey, you're just really good at gathering.
Just go gather. Go gather today. Give yourself a gathering day.
Yeah.
Good.
Treat
Keep
yourself.
going.
needs when he's at work. No, the guy's at work handling the new account for, the TPS reports or whatever. Then he comes home. He makes money, and
Only
the wife
reference
says,
to
I'm going to
work.
go to the store to pick up the groceries we need for food so we can have dinner. I think it's completely admirable. This trope's like, women like shopping. Well, women took it personally, got offended by it, when in reality, it's like, dude, I hate going shopping. I love it when there's just food. Like, you pick up the food, and then, I'll tell you the things that I like, and I appreciate it. But, I don't
He's
mind going to the
talking to
grocery
his
store with my
mom.
girlfriend, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we're getting winter clothes, and I'm like, just grab me whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
I'll try it on.
Tim would wear whatever. He has no particulars about what's being shopped for him. It's almost like his dress code is like entirely uniform, and he's made pretty active decisions about what he does and does not want to wear, but then pretends that he's above it because that's too feminine.
I love Tim Pool talks about slaying the boar. Like he talks bullshit into a camera for 3 hours a day and then goes and hangs out by the skate park. I can't. Like what he could do instead of talking about women be shopping is look at the study and is like, oh, actually, this is based on the fossil record.
Yeah, right.
And maybe get into that a little bit. Instead, it's like I reject that entirely because women in the 50s, like what? How do people watch this, I guess, is my question, and think they're getting anything other than just like...
Also, there were massive historical gaps and like centuries and centuries between the prehistoric times of cavemen and women to like the time when we had women be shopping. Like, there are centuries and centuries in between those things.
He needs to pick an argument. He's just ping-ponging back and forth. Are we defending prehistoric man here? Are we talking about shopping, like clothing shopping? Because that's what he seems to end with. Or we're talking about actually putting food on the table. So he's conflating women in the kitchen, prehistoric man rights, and like, I don't like shopping. This beanie smells like an asshole. Like that. Yeah. I don't really like. He needs to find a lane and stick to it.
And then there was the sad part of him wishing he had food in his fridge or someone to come home to cook for him. And that seems like a lot of where this stuff comes from.
Impressive work. Is there any more to that video? Let's play one more. Like a minute.
I appreciate it, but I don't mind going to the grocery store with my girlfriend, stuff like that. But we're getting winter clothes, and I'm like, just grab me whatever.
That's what it means to be a mighty man of valor.
I'll try it on, and grab me whatever you think works. I appreciate that. Look at this. They say, rather than viewing it as a way of erasing or rewriting history, our studies are trying to correct the history that erased women from it. Yes, that's right. Here you go. They just, what is this? Shutterstock, a woman with a spear.
Sorry, that is an addition made by the Daily Mail and not the actual people who did the study who were like, whoa, look at this photo we somehow got of cave woman hunting.
Yeah, perhaps Tim might want to just look at the study, but he
Where
can't.
It's about the fossil record. Yeah. The history that's being rewritten is the dumb shit that Tim Pool is spewing by default about women be shopping and men be hunting.
Well, I got news for you, Matt. I think Tim has watched a couple of TV shows about the 50s. So I'm pretty sure he knows what he's talking about when it comes to prehistory.
Okay. So here's what they show, right? The female. The suite of features below confer an endurance activity advantage. I'm going to completely debunk this very, very, very easily. This is hilarious.
Number one,
better psychological pacing, greater fatigue resistance through central and peripheral neuromuscular mechanisms. Better insulin sensitivity can increase fatty acid oxidation and spare protein. Increased fatty acid oxidation through mechanisms involving estrogen and adiponectin. Estrogen impacts multiple aspects of athletic performance, increased fatty acid oxidation, blah, 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 decreased glycogen utilization, increased insulin sensitivity. That's a live
shot of Emma.
Pause there.
Emma fleeing his home, by the way. That's that was Emma after the debate. Oh, my.
He's going to debunk all those words that he can't pronounce, by the way.
Do we need more of that? I mean, I think we got the gist.
Well, I want to hear how he's going to debunk it so easily.
Absolutely debunk it. I'm going to counter it with an argument. But I do want to point out
my immediate assumption on glycogen. Say he's not going to debunk it? He said he could debunk it so easily. It's hilarious. And now he's saying, well, I'm just going to counter it.
Increased fatty acid oxidation, blah, 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 blah. Decreased glycogen utilization. Increased insulin sensitivity. I got to pause there and just, okay, I'm not going to absolutely debunk it. I'm going to counter it with an argument. But I do want to point out, my immediate assumption on glycogen utilization is that that's a bad thing. You want glycogen utilization. Okay, so not a biological scientist or a nutritionist or any of this stuff. My understanding is when you eat food, when you eat carbohydrates, it converts into glycogen strings, which are stored, I believe, in the liver and then burned. It's not fat. It's like the sugar energy your body uses right away. Fat is then burned in a smaller.
I mean, what is this?
I don't know if we need to hit.
I'll tell you what that is. That is Tim has hired a nutritionist because he wants to get cut, and the nutritionist told him that much, and now he realizes like I can't totally actually debunk this, but I can regurgitate what someone just told me last week, and therefore prehistoric women were not suited for hunting. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I just think it's incredible. Again, the like chauvinistic, whatever misogyny kick everyone's on and all the, that he's on clearly is like, here is an example of how women have more endurance or better runners or have more stamina, whatnot.
I doubt that.
Yeah, I know. And he's triggered by that. He's upset that like they're differently abled, and that is upsetting to the entire, whatever right-wing worldview of man best, man good, man is strongest. Women also, lastly, just women. The whole thing we're talking about theocracy. Like again, there's back to like what women can do, which is bring life into this world, and it's almost like we're back to that. Men being jealous of this basic fact, and that they can't, harvest little Tim Pools in their, effing matrix or whatever the hell he's building.
The endurance thing, I actually remembered. I knew that before, that there have been studies before this, like this Notre Dame study doesn't come out of nowhere, that women in terms of running, there's some indications that they have higher endurance on a mile-to-mile basis, where sometimes men trend to be a little bit more faster in sprinting or whatever. But that's not a new phenomenon, but of course he's going to debunk it based on, his anecdotes about poker.
There you go. Well, the poker never lies.
Just invent the male uterus, guys. Get the deuterus. Let's go. I think that would solve everything. Once they can, squeeze new life out of their butts, it'll be fine. All right?
Pass. Pass, please. Pass. Francesca, where can people see your show? Like when? I would imagine where is a much easier question than when.
Yeah. Well, you can listen every week, Tuesdays and Fridays. I'll be going live in a little bit at Franny Fio on YouTube, or listen as a podcast, the Bitchwation Room podcast. And please come see Emma and I on Sunday, the 28th of January.
I'm so jealous. I would love to be at that show.
Yeah, that'll be really fun.
Send me a link and I'll, tweet out all the social stuff to get people.
Of course, there should be a link in the description. Hopefully, Bradley threw it down there. But hell yeah, Bay Area. I want to see you guys there.
Yes, for sure.
Francesca, always a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.